deal. He does not believe in the existing Vedas. He regards them as corrupt and interpolated. The period during which he was a Hindu and a follower of the Vedas he regards as the period of evil birth. For example, he hints that for a time he was a monkey, again for a time an elephant, then a deer and a dog, 4 times a snake, and then a sparrow, then a frog, twice a fish, 10 times a tiger, 4 times a fowl, twice a pig, and once a hare, and that at the time he was a hare he used to teach the monkeys, the jackals, the water dogs. Again he says that he was a ghost, once a woman, a dancer, and the devil. All these hints are meant to point to phases of life full of cowardice, of womanish behavior, of impurity and savagery, of profligacy, gluttony, and superstition. It appears that in this way he points to the time when he was a follower of the Vedas, for after abandoning the latter he gives no hint of any trace of an evil life still persisting in him. On the other hand, he then makes great claims. He said that he had become a manifestation of God and had attained nirvana. The Buddha also states that the man who goes from the world taking hellish actions with him is thrown into hell. Sentinels of hell drag him towards the king of hell, called Yamach, and the condemned one is then asked whether he had not seen the 5 messengers who had been sent to warn him: childhood, old age, disease, being punished for one's guilt in this very life, a proof of the punishment of the hereafter, dead bodies which point to the destructibility of the universe. The condemned one replies that he had been a fool. He had not thought over any of these things. The guardians of hell then drag him to the place of chastisement and fasten him with iron chains red hot like fire. The Buddha, moreover, says that hell has several regions into which sinners of different categories would be cast. In short, all this teaching cries out loudly that the Buddhist religion is indebted to the personal influence of Jesus. I do not, however, propose to go on with this discussion. I close this section here, for when there is a clear prophecy stated in books of the Buddhist faith about the coming of Jesus to this country, a prophecy which no one can deny, when the parables and the moral teaching of the Gospels are to be found in books of the Buddhist faith compiled in Jesus' time, both these considerations combined do not leave any doubt about the coming of Jesus to this country. The evidence, therefore, for which we had set out to make a search through Buddhistic records has been completely recovered, thanks to Almighty God. Section 3. On the evidence from books of history which show that the coming of Jesus to the Punjab and neighboring territories was inevitable. The question naturally arises why Jesus, after his escape from the cross, came to this country which induced him to take such a long journey. It becomes necessary to answer this question in some detail. I have already said something about it. Nevertheless, I think it would be helpful to set out the entire topic in this book. Let it be noted, therefore, that it was extremely necessary, by reasons of his office as a divine messenger, for Jesus, on whom be peace, to have journeyed towards the Punjab and its neighborhood, for the 10 tribes of Israel, who in the Gospels have been called the lost sheep of Israel, had migrated to this country, a fact which is not denied by an historian. It was necessary, therefore, that Jesus, on whom be peace, should have journeyed to this country, and after finding the lost sheep, he should have conveyed to them his divine message. If he had not done so, his purpose would have remained unfulfilled, for his mission was to preach to the lost sheep of Israel. His passing away from the world without seeking these lost sheep, and after finding them teaching them the way to salvation, would have been like the case of a man who had been charged by his king to go to a wild tribe in order to dig a well and supply them with water, but who goes instead to some other place, spends 3 or 4 years there, and takes no steps to search for the tribe. Does such a man carry out the command of the king? No, not in the least. The man cares not for that tribe, he merely looks to his own comfort. If, however, it is asked how and why it should be supposed that the 10 tribes of Israel came to this country, the reply is that there is clear evidence to that effect, about which even a person of a poor intellect can have no doubt, for it is well known that people like the Afghans and the original inhabitants of Kashmir are of Israelite origin. For example, the people of the hilly tract of Alai, which is 2 or 3 days' journey from the district of Hazara, have called themselves Bani Israel from time immemorial. So also the inhabitants of the Kala Dakah, another hilly tract in this region, take pride in being of Israelite origin. Then there is a tribe in the Hazara district itself which attributes their origin to Israel. Similarly, the people of the hilly region between Chalas and Kabul call themselves Israelites. About the people of Kashmir, the view expressed by Dr. Bernier, on the authority of some English scholars, in the second part of his book entitled Travels in the Mughal Empire, is well founded. The view, namely, that the Kashmiri people are the descendants of Israel. Their dress, their features, and some of their customs conclusively point to the fact that they are of Israelite origin. An Englishman, George Forster by name, states in his book that during his stay in Kashmir he thought himself to be amidst a tribe of the Jews. In the book called The Races of Afghanistan by H.W. Bellews, C.S.I., Thacker, Spink and Company, publishers, Calcutta, it is mentioned that the Afghans came from Syria. Nebuchadnezzar took them prisoner and settled them in Persia and Media, from whence at some later time they marched to the east and settled in the Ghaur, Ghaur, hills, where they were known as Beni Israel. In proof of this there is the prophecy of the prophet Idris, Enoch, saying that the 10 tribes of Israel who were taken prisoner escaped from bondage and took refuge in the territory called Arsartat, which appears to be the name of the part known as Hazara today, part of the region being called Ghaur. In Tabaqat-i-Nasri, in which there is an account of the conquest of Afghanistan by Genghis Khan, it is stated that in the time of the Shabnisi dynasty there lived a tribe called Bani Israel, some of whom were good traders. In 622 A.D., near about the time when our holy prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of God be upon him, announced his call, these people were settled in the territory toward the east of Herat. A Quraysh chief, Khalid bin Walid by name, brought to them the tidings of the prophet's advent with a view to bringing them under the banner of the divine messenger, on whom be peace and blessings of God. 5 or 6 chiefs joined him, of whom Qais was the leading one, whose other name was Kish. After accepting Islam, these people fought bravely for Islam and made many conquests. The Holy Prophet, on whom be peace and blessings from God, giving them many presents on their return, blessing them, and prophesying that these people would attain to great ascendancy. The Holy Prophet said that the chiefs of this tribe would always be known as Maliks. Qais he named Abdul Rashid, and conferred upon him the title Pathan. Afghan writers say that this is a Syriac word which means a rudder. As the newly converted Qais was a guide to his tribe, like the rudder of a ship, he was awarded the title Pathan. It is not possible to say at what time the Afghans of Ghaur advanced farther and came to settle in the territory around Kandahar, which is their home today. This happened probably in the 1st century of the Islamic calendar. The Afghans maintained that Qais married the daughter of Khalid bin Walid, by whom he had 3 sons, whose names were Saraban, Patan, and Gurgasht. Saraban had 2 sons called Sacharaj Yun and Karsh Yun, whose descendants are Afghans, that is, the Bani Israel. The people of Asia Minor and Muslim historians of the West called Afghans Sulaimanis. In the Cyclopedia of India, Eastern and Southern Asia, by E. Balfour, Volume 3, it is stated that the Jewish people are spread over the central, southern, and eastern regions of Asia. In early time, these people were settled in large numbers in China. They had a temple at Yichu, the headquarters of the district of Shu. Dr. Wolff, who wandered for a long time in search of the 10 lost tribes of Bani Israel, is of the opinion that if Afghans are the progeny of Jacob, they come from the tribes of Yehuda and Bin Yamin. Another